Welcome to Bonnie's Beat. I'm your host, Bonnie Squires. We're coming to you from Radnor Studio 21 in beautiful downtown Wayne, and we now broadcast by Comcast into Lower Merion Township as well. So I finally get to see my show after all these years. I get to see it because Comcast is my TV provider. We like to showcase people who are doing important things in academia, politics, arts and culture, charities, whatever. And sometimes I get to interview people that I know pretty well, and this is one of those days. Our guest today is Sam Quinn, and we'll find out why he's called Sam, which is not his name, but that's his name. You'll find him on the ballot in November as
Michael Sam Quinn.
As Michael Sam Quinn, who's running for district justice in parts of Lower Merion Township, right?
That's correct, Bonnie. The district covers Narberth and parts of Wynwood, Ardmore, Haverford, and parts of Bryn Mawr as well.
I have learned that people who live in Narberth are called Narbs. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I love it. A Narb. I live in Wynwood. I don't think we're called Wins. I don't know what we're called if we live in Wynwood. But Sam Quinn is an attorney, but he went to law school a little later than traditionally law school. Tell us your background, Sam. Where'd you go to undergraduate? Where'd you grow up, etc.?
Well, for the most part, I'm a lifelong resident of Narberth, give or take maybe 10 years. And I did my undergraduate studies at Bloomsburg University, graduated in 1984.
And what took you to Bloomsburg with your choice of all the colleges in Pennsylvania?
My older brother went there, and so I had a few chances to visit it prior to enrolling, and I liked the campus and the programs.
And he survived, right?
Yes, we both survived.
Okay. And what did you think you were going to do for a living after you got your degree from Bloomsburg?
I didn't know at that point. Some of the better advice I think I received from my brother was pick a major of something that you like, so at least you'll do good in your major. So I chose history and political science, and lo and behold, I became a lawyer and have entered politics.
But you didn't go to law school right after you were graduated. What did you do for a living as soon as you got your degree?
Immediately after following the graduation, I went back to a job I had held at a local market in Narberth, the American Family. They had helped me with finances in college, and I was indentured for a period of time. I promised I would help them if they would help me, and we struck a handshake bargain, and so for several years I worked full-time at the Narberth American Family Market.
What did your parents do? Were they college graduates, or were you the first in the family? Or the second?
I'm not the first in the family, but neither of my parents attended college. My father went to the 8th grade, and then he had to go to work because of a accident to his father. So this was during the Depression, and he went on to become a truck driver. And after the war in the early 50s, when he got married, they moved out to Narberth, and that's how our family arrived there.
And after you finished your indenture period in Narberth at the market, then what did you do? And how did you have the courage to leave?
Well, it was, family's very important to me and community. And my older brother, who was an attorney as well, one of my older brothers, asked me to come to work for him. He had a law practice in Center City, Philadelphia. And so I went downtown and began working as a paralegal in 1987.
What motivated you to go to law school? Because that's a big chunk of time and a big commitment to go to law school.
Well, I credit my wife primarily because as our relationship developed and I started falling in love, I decided I needed to have a legitimate career and be able to have different opportunities.
We don't want to offend anybody who's a paralegal out there. I have a lot of friends who are paralegals. It is a legitimate career. But you wanted to go a little farther in your career.
Yes, that's the proper way to put it. I'd agree with that, Bonnie.
Okay, I'm sure Mary Jane would agree with us also, yes. The power behind the throne. Now, how did you get involved in politics in Narberth originally?
Well, it became an outgrowth of community service. I've always liked helping people and, going back to early days as a Boy Scout and that sort of thing. And so when I came back to Narberth, let me back up a little bit. After I graduated law school in '99.
And where'd you go to law school?
Widener down in Delaware is where the law school is at, and I attended in the evenings while working full-time as a paralegal. So that took 4 years.
How did you manage that? Because I know I used to audit law courses when I worked for Peter Leocoris at Temple University. There's so much reading, and it's not like reading a novel or the newspaper. It's like a foreign language, and it takes so long to get through each page. And I did all the readings and all the papers for the courses that I audited, but I did not go to law school per se.
It's you have to devote a significant amount of time, and you have to manage your time well.
Were you married when you went to law school?
No, I was not. We did not get married until the year I graduated law school.
But you were going together?
Yes, we had a long-distance relationship. As
I was going to say, how could she see you if you're working during the day and going to law school and studying till all hours?
Well,
how did you get to see her?
We visited each other almost every weekend. Mary Jane was living in Morristown, New Jersey, up in Morris County, and I was living in Media at the time in an apartment, so we would just switch off weekends, and we did that for 4 years basically, and we talked a lot on the telephone every night.
Your phone bills must have been amazing.
It was,
but she, at one point in time, she worked for AT&T, right?
That's correct. That's her background out of college was in accounting, and she worked in various departments of AT&T.
So maybe her phone bills were discounted because she was an employee.
I would call collect sometimes.
Okay. So, were you a good student, by the way?
I did become a good student. The first year was difficult. I had been out of college 11 years when I returned. Ooh. And I give credit to Widener because they recognized that could be a transition. So when my first semester, I took extra classes on Saturday afternoons to learn about time management and to do the coursework. So the first year was hard, and they say that the first year of law school is the most difficult. And then another thing that helped me was I took one of the heavier courses after that first year in the summer, and I took constitutional law, and that let me devote full time to that hard course. It's a lot of reading and a lot of Supreme Court reading and analysis, so that helped me. And each year I got progressively better in my grades, and in several of the classes I think I was the top student, and I made the dean's list several times.
And what was your favorite course in law school, if there is such a thing?
It probably was constitutional law. Oftentimes, in education, I found undergrad and law school, you reach a bond with good teachers, and I really liked my constitutional law professor, and just like an undergrad, my political science professor I really enjoyed. So you wind up, sometimes it doesn't seem like it's work, it's more like having a conversation and studying and learning.
And then when you got married, after you got your degree in hand from law school, because your wife was already set in her career in Morristown, is that where you moved to?
Yes, I moved up to Morristown, and I then worked for 1 year in the Superior Court of New Jersey, which in New Jersey, that's the trial level court. In Pennsylvania, they're called the Court of Common Pleas. In New Jersey, it's the Superior Court. So I split time, 3 days and 2 days working for two different judges that practiced in criminal court and in landlord-tenant and in bail forfeitures. And I did that for 1 year.
And then how did you get back to Narberth?
Well, we didn't get back to Narberth for another 4 years, but when we did come back, it was just our daughter was born in 2000, and at some point we knew we wanted to get back to Narberth and Lower Merion area to raise our daughter, because I grew up here, and my wife Mary Jane has some connections to the community. Both of our mothers were living here, and we wanted our daughter to get to know her grandmothers and to get to know her cousins and family, and so we made our way back.
Nice to have a support system built in.
Yes.
Absolutely. And did anybody else in your family ever get involved in local politics, or were you the first?
I was the first. I have brothers that have been involved in community service type work. recreation board, coaching, youth sports, that sort of thing. I do have one brother that's a committee person in Philadelphia, so I guess you could call that a little bit of politics.
And what was the first position you ran for in Narberth?
Well, before I ran, there were a couple of committee posts that I held, like we call them the boards and commissions in Narberth. And I'd come back to Narberth, and it was around 2004, I think, and I saw an advertisement for a position on the planning board, and I put my name in and went down and met all the borough council members, and they chose someone else that had a background better suited, I think. But I said, whenever you find something that you feel I'd be a good fit, I'm happy to help and volunteer. So not long after that, I went to the library board, and I was serving on there for a couple of years, and simultaneously with the Narberth Fire Department on their board of directors. And what happened was one of the borough councilmen, his wife was taking a job in Germany, and they were going to move there to help open a trauma center at a U.S. facility there. So I was invited to join the borough council in 2007, and they asked me if I would be willing to stand for election, and I agreed. And so that was how I got onto borough council.
And not only did you get onto borough council, but you ended up being the president of borough council.
Yes, that's...
heavy load to bear, right?
Yes, it is, but it's...
And it's a no-pay job. It's
that's
a volunteer
correct.
job.
Yeah, it's completely volunteer. And even these days with the electronic world, it costs you money because you have to print out your own, all the documents that you have to read and the contracts and that. You wind up printing it out. But, I love it. And I don't know that these days whether the president has to work that much harder. I think the regular council people probably do. Because of the various committees. The council's broken into different committees, and they do a lot of the heavy lifting, and they also have to meet more often. But I like my role as president because I get to oversee and I get to run the meetings, and it's an important job because you have to ensure that everyone's voice is heard, whether it's a council member or
a developer,
or a developer, or a member of the public, because sometimes issues come up that are divisive, and you have strong feelings on either side, and it's important that everyone be heard and that all the evidence gets presented to council so that council can make an informed decision. And every council member I served with, they acknowledge that important responsibility and they take it seriously.
When you were practicing law, you're still practicing law, correct?
Yes.
And the name of your law firm currently is?
Untitled and Quinn.
Now, what do you focus on in your legal life?
Well, we have what I call it sometimes a shingle practice. You just hang a shingle out with your name on it, and you do all kinds of things, whether it's wills and trusts. You help people with problems they may be having in business or the correct way to set up a business. You help with real estate. We do a lot of real estate work, and we're affiliated. My law partner owns a title insurance company, so we can help people purchase houses, rent houses, write leases, write agreements of sale. And then from my prior law work before Narberth, I had been with a firm in New Jersey that did a lot of insurance defense work and represented municipalities and represented law enforcement and fire companies and that sort of thing. So I do a fair amount of work in New Jersey and New York still from the relationships I developed there. So sometimes that causes me to travel away from home.
When you're the president of City Council, I assume you have to go to every retirement party, every swearing-in party, whether it's the chief of police or the fire chief or it's the librarian or it's anybody who works for Narberth Borough. Is that correct?
Yes,
and it costs you a lot of money because you have to pay to go to all these parties.
Well,
that's not in the budget.
No, and this is fine. I moved back to Narberth. As I said, I grew up there, and I love Narberth, and I love Lower Merion. We had good relationships with, as growing up in Narberth in the 60s and 70s, we had good relationships with, our friends in Ardmore and Haverford and Bryn Mawr.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Archbishop Carroll.
Oh, did you see the Pope when he was in town recently?
No, I missed him. I was out knocking on doors, asking for votes. I did stand at City Line a little bit and wave to the motorcade, but
I got to wave to the Pope, and he waved back at 54th and City Avenue. And I was glued to the television set for 48 hours. And the best thing about the papal visit was that for 48 hours we got only good news from all the media. It was wonderful. And now we're back to, disaster and war and whatever. They didn't listen to the Pope when he went to the United Nations. I guess Putin missed that session where the Pope was asking for peace. What a remarkable person. And St. Joseph's University, it's wonderful that Mark Reed, who is the brand new president of St. Joseph's, he had been in office for 1 week when he got the Pope to come to his campus. How do you top that? Some of my friends said, I think he should retire now, but you can't get any better than getting the Pope to come to a Jesuit university. And I had been there 2 days before when the Jewish Catholic Relations Institute had the dedication of that statue, and Pope Francis's boyfriend, Rabbi Skorka from Buenos Aires, who has written books with him. They've been in interfaith dialogue since the 90s. I spent the whole day Friday with him between the World Meeting of Families. I heard him speak in the morning, and then I was on campus for this whole session, and he was the keynote speaker, and then we went out and we saw this magnificent statue that's called a synagogue and ecclesia in our time. It's like Jews and Catholics in our time. It's a brand new statue. It's just magnificent, just wonderful. So Sunday morning, this was not a scheduled stop. And I knew that Rabbi Skorka had told me that he was going to have lunch at the seminary he said, how could I come to America? And, and the Pope's here, and we not have lunch together. And I knew, as soon as I heard he was on campus, I knew that it was the rabbi that had arranged that. And ever since it was blessed by Pope Francis, the president sent out a news release that they have people flocking to campus to gawk at the statue or touch it, because if the Pope touches something, then it becomes a relic, and if you touch it, you're blessed too. I didn't mind being blessed by the Pope. I welcomed it. It was just a Philadelphia show, and it was wonderful. But Narberth has times during the year when Narberth shines too, like the Dickens Festival.
Yes, that's one of our favorites, and that's part of the community of Narberth, and we also call people that live just outside Narberth. The mayor started calling them Nearbs. So we love Nearbs.
Come be with the Narbs. I love it.
We love that Narberth attracts people not only from Narberth but the surrounding community as well. And we do have a lot of events and the fireworks at Dickens Festival. And one of the things that I'm proud of as Borough Council President is that we've had a good government in Narberth the last 9 or 10 years that I've personally been involved with, and we've been able to offer these activities and partner with the community and partner with the business association to bring these fun events to Narberth. It brings the community together, it brings business into Narberth, and we've done it all with maintaining a good, sound fiscal budget.
It's very interesting to compare and contrast Haverford, Haverford Road, the main street in Narberth, and no empty stores, with Lancaster Avenue and Ardmore, which breaks my heart when you see how many empty stores there are. What's the secret for having every store occupied in Narberth?
Well, I think
it's your personality, right?
Of course, Bonnie, that's right. In seriousness, though, I think one of the things that distinguishes Narberth from some of the other parts of Lower Merion that are part of Lancaster Avenue, for example, or Montgomery, is Haverford Avenue in the center of Narberth. It's very walkable and pedestrian friendly. So you often see people that'll come down and be able to park the car for 45 minutes, an hour or two, run their errands on a Saturday morning. They'll be able to have lunch.
And hit Rickland's.
Rickland's is,
because whatever you need, you can find at Rickland's. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just amazing. They've got millions of items, and their help knows where everything is. It's incredible. If you need a part for something that's so obscure, right away they'll take you to it. They know what it is. They'll tell you how to work it.
And speaking of Rickland's or the other stores and just the community in general, when you know one another, when you know your neighbors and you know your citizens, you can have a much better relationship. And that's part of what I hope to do as judge and how the court works is it's often referred to as a people's court. So it's very important that you have someone from the community that has these relationships and knows the community. And I would say that that's probably just as important as any legal background or qualifications, because you really don't, it's not required that you be an attorney to hold this position, but it certainly helps, and that community experience and knowledge is a huge part of the job of being a judge.
Most people have no clue what a district justice does or what the district court does unless they get a traffic ticket and they have to show up. But there's a lot of other kinds of cases that you have to preside over. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, the majority of the cases are traffic cases, and in this court, located in Ardmore, it's one of the top 5 busiest courts in all of Montgomery County. It's one of 30 district courts in the county. So along with the traffic, which would also include motor vehicle inspection, registration issues, you have cases that are civil in nature, up to an amount of $12,000, and that might be a dispute with a plumber or a contractor over work that had to be done. It could be a dispute with a neighbor over a car or something along those lines.
Or they chopped down a tree that was on the tree line, and that was your favorite tree, and they didn't ask you before they chopped it down.
That could certainly be one that could come before the court.
So you would be the Judge Judy of Narberth, right?
That would be right. I prefer to be the Judge Sam,
right?
Just because people know me that way.
You have to tell me, because I always thought that Sam was short for Samuel, until I read your official bio and found out why you were Sam. So to share with us, that's a funny story.
Well, when I grew up in Narberth, I lived across the street from the playground on Windsor Avenue, which is also right across from the library. So in those days, in the 60s, moms and dads would just say, go over to the playground all day and come home for lunch or come home when the street lights come on. So I spent a lot of time in the playground, and it's also close to the municipal complex, Borough Hall as we call it now. And back in those days, Narberth provided its own trash pickup, and they had an area for the borough employees to park the trucks. And so one day the truck was backing into the complex, and it hit the side of a building and collapsed part of the wall. So being a curious 8 or 9 year older, my friends and I climbed up to the top of the roof, and we were able to play pretty much all that summer on the roof by climbing up. So some local teenager started calling me Sam for Sam Houston, and they nicknamed it the Alamo. Now, Sam Houston was never at the Alamo, but I have a brother that says never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So in Narberth, nicknames tend to stick, so mine turned out to be Sam.
So you were Sam Houston Quinn. Okay, I love it.
So when I first ran for office, being from Narberth, it was important that people knew that it was Sam versus Michael on the ballot. Because the other funny story was when we did get married, the invitation went out as Michael Quinn, and some of my wife's relatives said, "What happened to Sam? We liked him." So anyway,
so how will you be listed in the ballot on November 3rd?
It'll be Michael Sam Quinn.
Michael Sam Quinn. Did you legally change your name to Michael Sam Quinn?
No, I kept it. It's Michael Patrick Quinn, but under the election law, you are permitted to put another name on there. So I chose to put Michael Sam Quinn.
Very smart.
And I've run for office that way every time I've run for election because of the relationships growing up in Narberth, that my friends and their parents that know me as Sam, and all the customers at the supermarket.
What do you do for fun? Do you have any time?
Not much. I spend a lot of time with family and in Narberth. I have brothers that live in Narberth. We'll go out. We attend a lot of the Narberth civic events, whether it's the Dickens Festival or the music festivals. I also coach Little League Baseball for St. Margaret's.
Were you an athlete in your day? Be honest.
I'm reminded of a story of John Kruk. I played baseball,
Okay.
but not too much basketball or football. We kind of did that for fun, but not organized. I did play organized baseball through grade school and some of the teenage cadet leagues, I think they called it back then. But I enjoy baseball, and I enjoy working with youth.
Do you have children?
I have one daughter, Mary Pat. She's a sophomore at Lower Merion High School. And she's a better athlete. She plays volleyball and basketball.
I was on the University of Pennsylvania's volleyball, the varsity volleyball team in the days when 5'1" Jewish girls who played volleyball at camp were the stars. It was before you could spike. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, everybody's got to be 6 feet tall and you have to be able to spike it. But I did love volleyball. It was wonderful.
Well, we love that our daughter has these activities to go along with the academics in Lower Merion, and it's a wonderful school district, a wonderful high school, as is Harriton, and so we're very pleased about that.
Are you going to have to give up your law career when you become district judge if you win the election?
Now, you don't have to, but my intention is to work full-time for the community and be a full-time judge, so that's my intention.
Is the court open every day, 5 days a week, the whole year round?
Yes, there are legal holidays when the court's not open. Now, that doesn't mean that the court is in session and hearing cases. So that might take 3 or 4 days a week. It depends on the schedule and the caseload. I know, as I said before, it's a busy court, but I also hope to engage the community and partner with the community to advance some youth programs and get involved perhaps in the schools and some of the civic and religious groups to try to promote the law and to teach the children about it and to just try to have their experience with the court system be in a friendly and informative and educational way.
We've been putting on the screen ways to contact Michael Sam Quinn. If you want to find out more about him, quinn4judge.com. And is that your direct line, 215-901-6330?
That is my campaign manager direct line, who is sitting to our left, my wife, Mary Jane.
Keep it in the family. I love it. I love it.
Well, with the background in finance, you need a good treasurer, and so she fills both jobs very ably, and I'm lucky and fortunate to have her.
You are.
We also have a Facebook page for those of you on Facebook, Sam Quinn for Judge.
The number 4 instead of the word 4.
Well, on the website, yes.
Yes.
I think Sam Quinn for Judge on Facebook might just be FOR, but I do know if you Google Sam Quinn and Judge, you get directed to both the website and the Facebook page.
Well, our guest today has been Sam Quinn for Judge, District Justice in Narberth, and we'll look forward to November 4th to see what the results were of the election, Sam. Good luck.
And the election is November 3rd, so make sure you get out. We will find out the 4th, so come out and vote November 3rd.
And we'll see everybody next week.